7 different meetings with 7 different heads of state, then a meeting with his Prime Minister's office staff, and later a cabinet meeting. Prime Minister Modi has hit the ground running on his first day at work. Over the next 30 minutes, we give you an inside look into Team Modi and their agenda to revive the economy. Good evening and thanks very much for joining us on this special show where you get to meet your ministers. I'm Shireen Bhan. It is the dawn of a new era in India's history, and change is the buzzword in New Delhi. In a move that signals a paradigm shift in governance, the Modi government will adopt a hub-and-spoke model. Let me explain. Under this hub-and-spoke model, all ministers who hold economic portfolios will report to the Prime Minister's office and the Finance Minister. The new government hopes that this new model will result in faster decision-making. Nenta Rai reports on the hub-and-spoke model that's being followed in portfolio allocation.
The new NDA government, in signature Narendra Modi style, will function in a hub-and-spoke model. All the economic ministers talk about oil, power, transport, commerce, etc. will coordinate with the finance ministry under Arun Jaitley's leadership and then report to the Prime Minister's office. Sources add the Modi-Jaitley duo have selected ministers that will not be difficult and the rigid sorts to sit on files, but on the contrary be open to mentoring. As one senior BJP leader explains, this was the reason Prakash Javadekar was selected to head the Environment Ministry, which in the UPA regime had become notorious for becoming a stagnant government department.
All right, Nenta, thanks very much for taking us through what the hub-and-spoke model means. Let's now talk about one man who will be on top of this hub-and-spoke model. Arun Jaitley has most certainly emerged as the number 2 in Modi's cabinet. He's currently in charge of 3 portfolios: finance, corporate affairs and defence. Jaitley says he will give up defence and corporate affairs will be merged or clubbed with the finance ministry. Of course, we're awaiting final clarity on the modifications of that or the modalities of that. Of course, yet to hear about who the suitable replacement could be for Jaitley in the defence portfolio. Jaitley's been given this massive responsibility despite losing the elections from Amritsar, and here's why. He has served in the previous NDA government, handling various portfolios from the Commerce Ministry to divestment to law and shipping. Jaitley's also juggled various portfolios successfully. Sapna Das reports on the change of guard at the Finance Ministry.
Arun Jaitley, as the new finance minister, has hit the ground running. He took charge around 9:45 in the morning, met all the secretaries of the Ministry of Finance, met the RBI Governor, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, went on, took charge as a defence minister, came back, met MOS Finance, and during the day carried on with presentations from the Department of Economic Affairs and the Department of Expenditure. His priorities are very clear: tackling inflation and keeping the fiscal house in order. However, it will be the budget, the main document that will be presented by him, which will carry further clarity on his priorities.
I'm very grateful to the Prime Minister for having expressed this confidence in me in giving me the charge to head this ministry. For a transient phase, I'll be looking after the Ministry of Defence also, but that's only an additional charge till there is an expansion in the cabinet itself. I'm conscious of the fact that I am taking over at a very challenging time, particularly when there is a need to rebuild the confidence in the Indian economy. The challenges are very obvious. We have to restore back the pace of growth, contain inflation, and obviously concentrate on fiscal consolidation itself. The mandate which our government has received has an inbuilt hope in it. And I'm sure a political change itself sends a strong signal to the global community itself as also the domestic investors. And I think over the next few months, by expediting decision-making processes, I'm sure we'll be able to build on that.
Well, balancing growth and inflation and credible fiscal consolidation roadmap, that's high on the agenda of the new finance minister. Jaitley is likely to give up the defence portfolio in about 2 weeks, is what he said, but he will be the driving force behind the defence modernisation programme and bringing FDI into the sector. Here's the defence minister laying out the government's agenda for that ministry.
This is a very important ministry, and hopefully should get a ministerial head in the ministry over the next couple of weeks.
So Mr. Modi had also identified indigenizing defense production as one of his priorities. One of the issues was the 26% cap on the FDI. Is it something, you're also finance minister, is it something which...
Well, that's an issue which in both limbs will be dealt by by my two departments, and it's already come up in my preliminary discussions in the finance ministry today, and therefore I don't want to say anything more till I go into the depth of the matter. If you remember that even 26% was decided upon when Mr. Vajpayee was in power. These are areas at least I am personally willing to examine.
Well, that's the temporary Defence Minister Arun Jaitley talking about the agenda for modernising and perhaps also reviewing the FDI cap for the sector. Now, if you thought Jaitley was the only man with 3 portfolios, think again. Ravi Shankar Prasad has returned to the Union Cabinet with a bag full of ministries. He took charge today as the Law, Telecom, IT and Communications Minister. Prasad brings a lot of experience with him, having served in the Cabinet led by Atal Bihari Vajpayee as Law Minister, INB Minister and Coal Minister. Malvika Jain reports on the challenges ahead of Ravi Shankar Prasad.
After having been sworn as part of Narendra Modi's cabinet yesterday, Ravi Shankar Prasad today took charge of not 1 or 2 but 3 ministries. We are right now at Electronics Niketan, which was Ravi Shankar Prasad's last spot. He took charge of IT and Electronics department over here. Before that, he went to the Telecom department, wherein at Sanchar Bhavan, the Telecom secretary explained to him about the nuances and the focus area of the Department of Telecommunications. And in the morning, he had taken charge of the Department of Law and Justice. Remember that during the UPA 2 regime, these portfolios were held by Kapil Sibal. And now Ravi Shankar Prasad says that his emphasis is going to be on reviving investor sentiment as far as the telecom sector is concerned. He is going to come up with a national broadband highway, the nuances of which have not been disclosed so far. And as far as IT and electronics is concerned, his emphasis is going to be on improving and developing domestic manufacturing. For Law and Justice, Ravi Shankar Prasad made it very clear that he does not favor, initiating arbitration proceedings with foreign governments, and he's also not in favor of retrospective taxation amendments. But whether he is going to bring in new changes or overturn the decisions which had been taken by UPA 2 is something that Ravi Shankar Prasad was silent about today.